This week, I remembered. I can't keep folding myself into containers I've outgrown. This journey of recovering identity, it's not linear. It's layered. We're talking labels, roles we didn't choose. The caretaker, the peacemaker, the one who never breaks, the one who makes it easier for everyone else's sake. The deeper I walk this path, the more I realize it's not about finding myself, but unlayering that disguise. Not just from the noise and the distraction, the expectation, the roles and the goals. The mask glued on so young, we forgot they were all just molds. For me, it's not that one day I suddenly woke up and decided to get loud. It's that I've been whispering for years, and I finally got tired of all the echoes in my ears. This week, in The Artist's Way, we're asked to look at our identity. Not just who we think we are, but who we tell the world we are. The stories, the projections, the labels that got stapled to our chests before we ever got the chance to choose our own names. I've been doing this work for a while now, but there's something about doing it now. In community. In these pages. In this chapter of my life that has me remembering me on a whole new level. Remembering a version of me who never needed to shrink. Who wasn't scared of her own shine. And knew her worth wasn't dependent on who understood her mind. In case you need a reminder too, you're not too much. You're not too late. You're not defined by the versions of you who were built to make somebody else feel comfortable. We grow into our truth by releasing the pieces that were never really ours to carry. Here's the thing about identity work. It stirs things up. This morning, I caught myself looking in the mirror going, I should take a picture of this while it lasts. As if it's temporary. As if all the ways I've nourished and rebuilt myself could just vanish overnight. Taylor said, you act like you're going to undo all of the habits that you've learned. And he's right. That's what the old story sounded like. Like I was always one step away from spiraling backwards. And that's because I didn't have the habits and consistency like I do now. But this version of me, she eats to nourish, moves to move energy, paints, writes, and shows up because that's just who she is now. When the old stories get loud, the affirmations can feel like a joke. Like, okay, I'm standing here in the mirror, now what? Crying, doubting, unraveling, and I'm supposed to say I'm powerful. But here's what I've learned. Affirmations aren't for when you already believe them. They're for when you're trying to remember. There was a time where I had Shannon Blake's bad bitch energy on repeat. Not for the hype, but for the healing. Because some mornings, I had to pick myself up off the floor and remind myself that I'm really worth it all. Just gotta put my crown on straight, look in the mirror, and I say, it was my mantra, the rhythm that helped me rewrite my story. I didn't need to earn my worthiness. I could speak to myself like someone I loved. Even when I didn't believe it yet, her words helped guide me. I'm a bad bitch, powerful and savage, activated goddess, I've been on my boss shit. Because self-doubt, that's just hate in prettier clothes. And if we're not conscious of it, we'll let it steal our energy before our day even begins. In week 2, Cameron teaches us that attacks, whether internal or external, from outside voices or our own, can block us before we even begin. And the antidote isn't perfection. It's persistence. It's showing up anyway. It's making the art, even if it feels like no one sees it, even when it echoes. And it's not just the voices in our own heads. Sometimes the hardest part about recovering is realizing who benefits from us staying small. Julia Cameron calls them crazy makers, poisonous playmates, people who say they support us, but somehow our growth always seems to rattle them. They're not necessarily villains. They're just people stuck in their own loops. And maybe they care. But that doesn't mean they get to shape our future. It took me a while to realize that some of the beliefs I was living out weren't mine. They were hand-me-downs, old programming, scripts I inherited before I even knew that I had a choice. That's not realistic. You're too sensitive. You can't make a living doing that. Who do you think you are? Go get a real job. These voices don't always come from within. They're echoes of parents, partners, and teachers, of systems that preferred us quiet and predictable. But this chapter, we start tracing those stories, asking, whose voice is that? Is that really true? Do I want to carry this into my future? Because once we start doing the exercises at the end of chapter 2 and really show up for them, We begin to see the beliefs that are still shaping what we allow in our lives, what we allow, what we expect, and what we think we're allowed to dream. But here's the honest part that nobody talks about. When we begin waking up to all of this, both the internal blocks and the external ones, there's usually a moment where everything in us wants us to retreat, to crawl back into the roles that we know, the familiar loop, the identities that once made us feel safe. That doesn't mean we're failing. It means the work is working. This is when a lot of us set down the book, skip the morning pages, pull away from the tools and the truths that have been asking us to face what we have avoided. It's human, and it's okay. But this is exactly why we're here, why this container exists. Because these moments, they're not the end of the story. So when it happens, when the doubt creeps in and the regression pulls hard, don't ghost yourself. Come back to the platform, back to the episode, to the comments, the pages, the people, to the version of you that said yes in the first place, because you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, a version of yourself you're still getting to know, but the more time you spend with them, the more real you become. And it's getting easier, not because the path stops being brave, but because you start to feel more at home along the way. So keep going, keep choosing it. The steps get lighter, and you get stronger. Some days I'm standing in my studio singing Watsky lyrics like they're affirmations. Even with the Himalayas in my way, it's gonna happen. That's enough to keep me going. It gets me back to the page, the canvas, the camera. Because once you clean the channel, once you build the rhythm, your creative energy knows how to find you. So if you're in it right now, if you've set down your book, ghosted your pages, or slipped back into that old role again, come back. Come back to the playlist. Come back to your breath, to the mirror. You're still becoming, because once you build that rhythm, your creative energy knows how to find you again. And if this week stirred something in you, some little truth you've buried, or a label you're finally ready to let go of, don't keep quiet. Talk about it. Reflect on it. Tell your friends, because we grow stronger as we grow along with others. You'll find weekly check-in prompts every Sunday and Tuesday over on my Instagram at Athena Rose Art. Until then, I'll meet you in the pages, in the comments, and in that quiet place inside you that already knows it's time.